If you could go back in time and you could either vote for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, who would you vote for?
Um, Donald Trump,
Okay. Why would you support Donald Trump?
because I was a little worried about the Ukraine situation and how aggressive the left side was.
In what way?
It just seemed like their rhetoric was more like they were prepared to go to war, basically, which I was.
Really? I mean, I don't think either side was saying that they were going to go to war. What do you mean that like we are going to fund Ukraine like we have been, but like I'm confused how that meant like the U.S. was going to like put troops on the ground or something. That's not what was going to happen.
Yeah. I remember there was something about like using long range missiles, and the left said
Wait, how do you
they
feel about
want.
Donald Trump being like full pro Ukraine now?
Right. I think it's. I get the whole Ukraine, like defending Ukraine. I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes so much sense now. Yeah. That was a really quick change of tune.
Well, I think you can like be defensive but not be aggressive, basically.
Oh, what do you mean by that? Because I mean, I
So
think I think Trump was pretty aggressive with his statement. I can tell you what his statement was if you would like me to.
sure.
Alrighty, alrighty. Right here, he said that I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form.
Gotcha. So again, I feel like if there was like a candidate who was like super against war, I'd vote for them. But I feel like between the two, um, the Democrats were further on the side of wanting to go to war.
Okay, and what sense?
So there was one thing like right when the election was taking place about using
Can
long
you
range
stop clicking
missiles.
the pen, by the way?
Oh, sorry, I'm playing League of Legends. I didn't know
Oh,
you could hear
sorry, so
that.
sorry. Uh,
No, you're good. Yeah, I'll move it away. Let me know if you could hear it, and I'll stop.
no, I
So
was
I
just
can.
letting you know because we can hear the clicking, and it just affects
Gotcha.
the audio, especially for YouTube and everything in general.
Got it. Can you still hear it?
Yeah, yeah, we still hear it.
Damn. All right. Here, I'll just. My team's doing good, so they'll be fine without me for a little.
They might need to carry.
Yeah. Right. Um, it's not ranked, so it's fine.
Okay, then you're
Yeah,
good.
I remember there was one thing with long range missiles. Russia said like Ukraine can't use long range missiles unless they're American, and right, this was happening right at the time of the election, and then Russia said if they use long range missiles, we consider that attack an attack from America. And I think like a week, actually no, I think this is when Donald Trump had won the election. Biden gave the go ahead to Ukraine to use long range missiles as kind of his going away like effort. Since he was leaving office, he was
Did
trying to
Trump
like.
change the policy?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I mean, you remember when um, Zelensky came to the White House? I mean, Trump was pretty like he was pretty rude and pretty mean to Zelensky, saying like it's not looking good for you. So that was just completely different.
And
Than,
how did it turn? How did it turn? It obviously did turn better for Zelensky, didn't it?
right, I agree, and like I said, like I think both of them, both administrations are like pro-war in a sense. I just think the left was a little more aggressive.
But you didn't really say how the left was more aggressive.
Like like I just said. So you have Trump who's saying like Zelensky, you got to chill, and then you have Biden who's saying like just
He didn't.
fucking
He
go
didn't say
for it.
Zelensky needs to chill. They said they could win back Ukraine in its original form, which would include Crimea.
Right, but I mean, you do you get what I'm saying? Like I know they're both for the Ukraine war, but there's just one who's
How is
more
it
aggressive.
pro-war to defend Ukraine when we signed an agreement with Ukraine to defend them?
Um, how is it for war to defend Ukraine?
Yeah.
because that's if you're if you're defending a country, you're basically advocating for war.
Defending them from being invaded? They didn't start the war.
I get that, and I get why
Is
people
it pro
are
war to like Iran? Is that pro war?
100%. Yeah,
Okay, so Trump's done that.
I know, and so has um, every administration has done terrible things to the Middle East,
And
and
that's
I think
bad,
that's
right? But do you understand the point that I'm acknowledging? That Donald Trump is engaging in very pro-war.
yeah. Well, and like I said, so both administrations are pro-war. Every
Okay.
administration we had we've
Okay.
had is pro-war.
Okay, sure. If you consider every administration pro-war, then why are you using it as a reason as to why you would say that Donald Trump is a better candidate?
Because the left was giving more aggressive rhetoric, which I think is undeniable.
Department of War.
What?
Department of War.
Department of War? Is
Yeah.
that something?
The change of the Department of Defense to the Department of War, saying that we're going to go on the offensive rather than be on the defensive. Pete Hegseth literally is debunking you himself, dude. He said that from the Oval Office. And yet you're still sitting here and saying that like their rhetoric is going to be less like pro-war. Did they themselves say that their rhetoric is more pro-war?
I mean, do you take like how seriously do you care about like department names?
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. You
What
said
do you think
rhetoric.
about?
You
What
said
do you think
rhetoric.
about?
I'm sorry. Department of War themselves, they consider a part of their rhetoric because they said
Right.
based upon the name, we did better. So they're saying it's going to enshrine better rhetoric.
Okay. What? In my opinion, I think all that stuff's ridiculous. Like changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Like who cares?
Okay, okay, okay. There you go. That's all rhetoric, isn't it?
Yeah, but everyone has rhetoric. But I'm saying that the left was more aggressive, and for me, like I have a vision of what I want my future to look like, and I felt like even if the percentage was very small, I felt like we had a bigger chance of going into like a full out war with the left. And I think a lot of people felt that way, and I think deep down a lot of people.
No, I think we're more likely to have conflict when Donald Trump himself says he hates the left. He says the left is responsible for everything without having evidence. He can't wait to blame the left in any circumstance he can.
I don't know. I just think the left rhetoric at the time of the election was more aggressive, and
In what way? Like Donald Trump called Kamala Harris a communist, Marxist,
like,
fascist.
sorry, I
Like
mean in
this
terms
is
of the
prior to
war.
the election.
I mean in terms of the war with Ukraine. Not. I know Donald Trump is definitely more aggressive when it comes to badgering his political opponents, which is like ridiculous. But in terms of the war, I was looking at it like, okay, I have there's a 2% chance we go to war if Biden or if Kamala becomes president, and there's like a 1% chance if we go to war. Maybe it's bigger than that, but that's how I felt, and I'm like, I don't want
You
to
said that they're
go.
both pro war, and how are you going to imply a distinction here? Tell me.
So during when the election was happening, there was the thing with the missiles. That was when Putin was making press conferences over and over, basically saying if Ukraine uses long range missiles, um, then we're considering that an attack from the U.S.
Oh, did
Um,
that happen?
I mean, yeah, Biden. I mean, Biden can't pull the trigger, but Biden gave Ukraine the go ahead to use it.
And what happened?
Nothing because he lost the election. So
Wait,
he, so
no.
he, so
Wait,
the timeline was
if they gave the go ahead, and it is the case that it wasn't considered an attack by the U.S., Putin was lying. Whoa! Oh my God! Vladimir Putin was lying? No way! What?
yeah,
Oh my!
well,
I would have never
wait, what
expected
was he
that.
lying?
Vladimir
Yeah.
Putin lied.
Wait,
Whoa!
but what are you? I don't even know what you're saying. He's lying about, but I definitely agree. He's probably lied 99% of his whole life. But wait, what are you talking about?
What did you hear? Anything I said at all?
Yeah, so I said that um, Putin would say that a long-range missile attack was an
Gonna
attack
lead
from the
to like
U.S.
it was gonna be a U.S. attacking on them. Was he telling the truth or was he bluffing? He was bluffing.
Right, but do you get what I'm saying? So you have one candidate who's saying go ahead, go for it, and then at the time of the election, this is their two stances.
I'm sorry.
Biden
You know
saying
now that Trump is fully pro-Ukraine. Stop trying to play the argument that they're different here. Now, Donald Trump is actually the only argument you could really provide is that he's actually less strong when it comes to defending Ukraine,
exactly.
which is
That's my
bad.
argument.
Which is bad. And
But
because
see these
now his goal is to be more strong in defending Ukraine. That's his goal now. So if his goal now is to be more strong in defending Ukraine, but he's less strong in defending Ukraine, then he's not actually holding up with respect to his own goals. Right? The idea that you would say that you would support him because he's not as good for defending Ukraine when inevitably his goal is still to end up defending Ukraine is just ridiculous.
well, like I said, like I think both candidates are for defending Ukraine. I just think one's more aggressive. And and at the time of the
And
election,
but what
it was
mechanism
very
specifically would they enact right now that Donald Trump would not enact?
I mean, I bet you we started seeing troops from North Korea and I think China. I bet you there's a world where we start sending troops in we start from countries in Europe, and then we start,
Nope, that would be war.
yeah, exactly.
So no, that's not going to happen.
I'm saying if Kamala was, if the Biden
You have
administration
no
was in, I
evidence that you
think,
have no reason to believe this. You have no evidence to believe this. You're just saying this because you're fear mongering people into believing that Kamala Harris is somehow going to cause World War III. There's no evidence of this at all. There's no good reason to believe this. And if anyone
you're
were
right.
to be the
You're
person
totally
to
right. You're
cause
right.
a, if there,
And
if,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for overstretching. I think you're totally right. I feel like the at the time of the election that was my biggest thing. I'm just like I do not want to go to war. And you know, yeah, Trump maybe was lying. Was
no,
he
but what do you
was
think
lying?
now? Because the whole argument we're having right now is what you think now.
What I think now? Well, who would be who's the candidate for like the upcoming election? I mean, as of right now, we can't even really enact any change.
You
Like
understand
I
that
would
you
like to.
understand that this is going to affect the way that you're going to view future elections. That's why I'm having these dialogues still, is because it's informing people about what they did specifically in the election and showing them that they can change their views, and then that's going to affect the way that they perceive future elections. Candidates that are going to be derivative of MAGA on the right versus candidates that are going to be more liberal on the left, on in like the Democratic Party.
Right. Yeah, and I think if the during the next election, the left has a candidate that's more like of a pacifist mindset, then I would go that route. Also, another thing that I didn't like, I'm huge into crypto. I love
I mean, that's actually what we were in
uh,
2024 with Kamala.
what?
We were significantly more pacifist than Trump, again, in terms of this, because Donald Trump was calling for violent insurrection at the Capitol, right? He pardoned violent rioters, police officers, right? So you understand that if we're going to be comparing Trump to Harris, right, Harris would be significantly more pacifist, especially domestically, comparative to Trump.
Yeah, I think that's very true, and you see that with ICE too, um, and how aggressive Trump is with illegal immigrants. I think it's terrible. Um, I'm just saying my main concern was not wanting to go to war because I think war in today's age can be like catastrophic, especially with superpowers. Um, but yeah, domestically, I think the left is way more. It's a safer country if we have an administration from the left. But I didn't want to go to war with a superpower,
Okay.
and that's what it felt like they were going to do. And then
That
and the
that
other
that
thing was
wasn't going to
crypto.
happen. But is there is
The
there
other
any
thing was
actual
crypto.
other reason you support Donald Trump? Because we've already gone over this. That you said that there's no distinction when it comes to how quote unquote pro war they are. So I don't know why you're even arguing this.
Yeah, I mean the other one was crypto. I love crypto. I think Bitcoin is like I think liberals should should be obsessed with Bitcoin because it's fair money. It's very clean money. Um,
Well, how? What's different about it?
so there's no central authority. Um, so right now, like
So why would the
the
government allow for that to become prominent?
well, it's not about the government. It's about people adopting it.
Yeah, government wants a monopoly over currency, correct?
Right. And do you think that's right? Do you think the
Yeah,
Federal
so
Reserve
inevitably
should,
speaking, there's going to be like a centralization of the currency. At some level of value, there would be a centralization of currency, and there being some backing of the government in doing so is centralizing that. So there shouldn't be any difference in the policy between the left and the right on that from a person who's pro crypto, as it's decentralized. Why would you centralize a decentralized currency?
you can't
Right? It
centralize
makes
it.
it makes
It's
no
the whole
sense to have any relevance to either administration, right? Because both
right, but the
administrations
left
are not
was
going to allow for it to exist in that type of manner.
the
Trump is
the
just
left was
claiming that we're going to somehow get rid of the debt with it or something. It's crazy.
no, the left was very like anti-crypto. Like
No,
they were putting a
the
lot of
left isn't
crypto
anti-crypto. That's just not true.
at the time of the election, leading up to it.
They're anti-Trump's approach on crypto.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm in the crypto space like very
Here's
heavily.
what I don't think people should like. I don't think that people should um, say that the left or the right are either pro or anti crypto. There's a lot of both on both sides, and I do think that the perspective that I have on the matter is just acknowledging reality that crypto isn't really going to bring us anything new because the government will not allow for a different type of currency to become that prominent because it can affect, exchanges and markets. It can affect global currency and it can affect, the global markets. So there would be a
Well,
huge
you're already
reason.
seeing it with the BRICS. I think it's called the BRICS. Um,
That's not crypto.
yeah, but you have other countries who are getting away from the U.S. dollar. So, eventually the idea is in the future, more people adopt. You have countries like Venezuela who these centralized currencies get inflated to zero like every day. So you have these people like making money and they have to spend it and buy food, or if they keep it in the bank, it's going to go to zero. So they use a currency like Bitcoin, which isn't getting, um, which doesn't have any inflation, obviously has price swings, but
It has
these they're
price swings, but it doesn't have inflation. I'm sorry. What? Hello? Do you know what you're
yeah.
saying right now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You obviously don't. That's a bad take. I'm sorry, Parker. I'll give you it when you have a good take. Inflation has to do with supply of tokens. Price swings has to do with the price of the token.
Then why is the price changing right now?
The price
It's
changes because of
massively inflating. Aren't you guys happy when it inflates in price?
no. So sorry, inflation has to do with the token supply. Okay, so there can only be 21 million
What do you
tokens.
mean? What is inflation?
Inflation means there's more tokens,
No,
like
no, no,
some central currency. So, yes, that's what inflation
no.
is.
Inflation doesn't just mean more tokens. That's not how you
And
categorize inflation.
of an asset, yes, it is. That's like literally the definition of inflation of an asset. Yes, inflation happens because of quantitative easing, which has to do with money printing.
Now you're bringing up a
We're talking about
point. So
we're talking
let's talk
we're
about this.
talking about
So
currency inflation.
yeah,
Currency
think about it this
inflation
way. Think about it
has to
this
do
way.
with
Think about
token
it this way.
supply. No, Parker, you're just
It
wrong on this.
can. No, I'm
You should
not.
just
You need to
use
listen.
ChatGPT or
You need to
whatever
listen instead of just speaking. Okay?
because
I'm
I
gonna
know you're
explain it to
wrong.
you.
Explain to me how there's inflation in
Did you
Bitcoin.
take any
Yeah,
econ classes?
I did.
Okay. So did they tell you that inflation is only a result of there being an increase in the money supply? Is that what they taught you? Because that would be wrong. Inflation is not only from an increase in the money supply. Why did we see inflation during COVID? Supply chain issues? Was that necessarily related to an increase in the
We
money
had the
supply?
biggest
No.
money
So it
supply
was
increase
actually
during COVID
you're not
ever.
understand you're not understanding.
Parker, Parker,
But that
don't
wasn't
go this route, please. I support you.
you
This
want
is
to
not
okay,
fair.
then you
We had the look at the money supply
this
during
guy won't
COVID.
listen and
It's,
shut up. Be quiet, dude. Do I need to
I'm
mute
trying to
you?
help you.
No, you're not. You're not listening and you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. The money supply increasing is not the only way that inflation can occur. Is it a way that inflation can occur? Absolutely. Is it the only cause of inflation? No. That's what I'm explaining. You understand that, yes, there was an increase in the money supply during the context of COVID, but that was not due to the context of the Biden administration. So if you want to say that that would specifically be due to the context of the situation because of what happened under the Trump administration, then you can blame Trump for that. But what resulted to the increase in money supply? Well, debt-related spending is what people typically say, and there was a greater level of debt-related spending relating to Trump. So what I'm acknowledging is that the main cause was supply chain issues. It was not necessarily the increase in the money supply. It was the supply chain issues. The increase in the money supply, did that have an effect on inflation? Absolutely. But was that the main driving cause of inflation? No. Want to know why? Because there was inflation globally. And was there a money supply increase in every single area to that degree around the world? No. There would be differing levels of money supply increases around the world. So that's why it is the case that when we see a global inflation, it attributes that most of the inflation is going to be something that was dependent upon something that affected the entire globe, which would be supply chain issues. Now you may go ahead.
I mean, we had the biggest. If you want to look it up, you could look up how much did the money supply increase during COVID. It was like the most ridiculous increase in the money supply.
Under
I think
Trump.
it's under Trump. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, like, you know, I have ideas for running politically in the future, and I think it would involve a more decentralized, like a like a moderate approach. You know, but anyway, there's no inflation in Bitcoin. You could. That's just.
Okay,
you
so
can't really,
inflation is the rate of increase in pricing, correct?
inflation. You're saying inflation in Bitcoin. There's you can have words that have meanings in different contexts.
Can you answer, is inflation the rate of increase in pricing?
Yes.
Okay. If inflation is the rate of increase in pricing, has there been a rate of increase in prices of Bitcoin?
Yes.
So therefore, the value of Bitcoin has been inflated.
Yes, but has the supply been inflated?
You're asking a different question. I'm pretty sure there is some change, but I mean, I'd have to check back. You say that there is no change. That's fine, right? I actually think that's worse. You want to know why I think that's worse? Because I think that you need to have a change in the money supply depending upon the population.